Hey guys, it's me, Anchor64 again, for another video. As you can see, I'm right outside Stormwood again, and as you already maybe saw from the title or thumbnail, this will be kind of in part 2 of my add-ons and UI guide. I got in comments asking about some stuff, and also like remarking I kind of missed some stuff as well, made some really valid points, and that's why I actually want to make kind of in part 2. So this video will be shorter in kind, will be kind of also less edited and stuff. Just some, I will just talk about some things I kind of missed in my first video, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So what I will talk about, first of all, I will talk about some add-ons I missed. That will be kind of like the first thing I want to talk about. The second thing, so the other thing I want to talk about is kind of a demonstration where I will show you a video of my like BWL Raid and show you like my actual UI in action, how the procs look like on my UI, things like that, how it actually looks like when I'm raiding. So you have a better imagination how that would look like. Okay, so that's what I want to do. As always, usual stuff. If you like these kinds of videos, feel free to like, subscribe, whatever. But this is just in part 2, so it's kind of chill. I will just add some stuff and yeah, so on. Okay, first of all, one question I got about is, what is this add-on? Why is there like green ring? What does this actually do? I can understand the confusion because, yeah, it looks, maybe it's really useful, maybe whatever, what is it? It's actually from an add-on farm hut. The reason why I didn't mention it, I did a lot of different takes in my video, and I kind of forgot to talk about this. This is also a recent thing the add-on creator added, so this wasn't in a previous version of this add-on. What this pretty much is, it is in part of an add-on which is called Farm Hut. What Farm Hut is for, yeah, you can see if I click it on here, like this is the add-on Farm Hut, it pretty much takes my minimap and puts it in the middle of my screen. Well, this can be useful if you have a gathering profession or maybe you are tracking something. You can use that to make it easier for yourself. So right now, I have these rings on here, which kind of do the same thing. But as you can see, I can, yeah. So I will talk about these rings first of all. So right now, my gathering profession is actually mining, as you can see. So I am tracking it also right now. And a thing that is pretty nice, when you are walking into a node, so right now I have this node right here. I don't know why it doesn't show on my minimap. It's kind of bugged. I don't know really. But right here is a node. So if I walk into it, as you can see, if I touch it like with the green ring, that's kind of the range where the node would show up on my minimap actually. So yeah, that's really useful for farming because you can abuse that, and you can, if you are farming veins or herbalism or something, you don't really need to be really close to see if that vein or herb node or whatever spawned or not. So yeah, however, I wouldn't use it like this. I would just click on here on this add-on and have it on my screen directly. And then you can see right here, if I like kind of walk into it, now it goes like this, and yeah. So yeah, so kind of I need to be in the range of the green rings. And okay, I see, okay, there's a copper vein. Same thing with other stuff, like maybe chest or something, which I can't really track because I'm not a dwarf. But yeah. So that's pretty much what this add-on does. That's all it does. Just for, it's really useful for farming stuff. Okay, some other add-ons I missed, which I will kind of give like 1 or 2 sentences about. One add-on is like this one, minimap back add-on. This add-on is really useful for grouping all of your add-on buttons, because maybe you had the experience, I had it a lot, I installed a lot of add-ons and then my whole minimap is full of add-on buttons, and they're kind of top of each other, and it looks really ugly, it's kind of really annoying to actually group them or whatever. and maybe you can't even find one. So what this add-on does, it pretty much organizes them pretty nicely, and just you can click on here, look at your add-ons, click here, everything's removed, looks really clean. So that's actually really nice. It's called, I think, Minimap Back Button add-on or something like that. Let me actually look it up. It's kind of a tongue breaker. Yeah, Minimap Button. Okay, Minimap Button. Yeah. That's something, if it would be German, you would kind of make a word like that, but whatever. Okay, I talked about this one. What else did I forgot to talk about? Okay, OmniCC is actually really important add-on. This one, what it does, it gives us actually some cooldown number on our abilities. So normally if you are playing Classic, if you don't have any add-ons, if you use an ability, you don't really have a number right here that shows you when your ability is available again. You will just have the kind of a clock animation, which will go down, and then when you can use your ability again, your like ability is like fully bright again. But yeah, that's kind of not really useful. You actually want to know when you can use your ability again. So that's what this one does. However, this functionality is included in a lot of different add-ons, like Leatrix Plus, Elf UI. Like it's included in tons of different add-ons. So yeah, because it's like a basic functionality. Another add-on we have is Pawn. Pawn, what it does, it kind of compares your gear. If you get, for example, I have these gloves right now. If I compare to these gloves, you can see at the bottom. Can I? No, I can't with my mouse, but whatever. At the bottom, you can see protection, 99% upgrade. So yeah, what it does, it gives me like, just tells me, okay, this item is like an whatever percentage upgrade for this spec. Maybe like this one, for example, Onyxia Tooth Pendant is like an 4% upgrade for arms, 460% upgrade for protection. However, this is not really that accurate. You should always have some knowledge what is actually your best in slots and not use like pawn. Um, However, what this is useful for is it's kind of satisfying. That's the only reason I'm using it, because like you have like big green numbers that tell you, okay, it's an upgrade, whatever. It looks really nice. So yeah, that's the only reason I'm pretty much using this add-on. What else do we have? Okay. Some of them are disabled. Ah yeah, Taco Tip is also another one. This one pretty much shows me my gear score, as you can see right here, and like my eye level. And you can also see the gear score of other people. In my personal opinion, gear score is kind of a meme in Classic, because it's not like Wrath of the Lich King, where you have like item level gear kinda defines if an item is better than yours. Everything's itemized properly, and like higher item level gear is better than in lower item level gear pretty much always. But yeah, that's not really the case here in Classic, with items that are bis for like several phases and they drop in like Molten Core and whatever. Yeah, but that's not really the topic of this video. And so gear scores kind of meme here can still be kind of useful, whatever. Okay, next one. Did I miss anything? The others are not really that important. Yeah. Let me actually talk about another question I got. So this one person actually asked a lot of different questions. Yeah, which is not a problem at all. I don't have any problem to answer them. Another thing I have is, for example, potions, and like, where are my potions? Did I bind them on any way? Is there like anything I have right here? And that's actually a thing I am kind of actually need to do. I didn't really bound potions, bandages to anything right now, which is a bad thing. You shouldn't do that. You should definitely bind your potion to something, especially if you're playing hardcore. I think that person was probably mostly playing hardcore. But yeah, I didn't really do that. So that's why you don't really see it. I bound one potion to a macro for my recklessness. So I use recklessness and Mighty Rage potion in one, like in one macro, because they kind of have a similar duration. and Make the Rage Potion are kind of expensive, but not really. So yeah, I don't really want to waste them. However, it would make more sense to actually have a separate button for like Make the Rage Potion, because it's 20-second duration. Recklessness is only 15 seconds, and of course, Recklessness is like 30-minute cooldown. But whatever. That's one thing you can do. You can actually bound abilities and potions together to give you even like saves you one button press. Yeah. Other things about my keybinds, just to get it over with, like shortly. I use a keybind abilities that I use a lot on easy to reach ability buttons. For example, like 1 for Bloodthirst, 2, 3 for Q and F. These are all really easy to reach abilities, and they are like my key abilities I use a lot. Of course, like Battle Shout, Whirlwind, Pummel, you kind of use a lot. And Execute as well is on my E, because first of all, it's easy to reach and makes sense, execute an E. Other things like buffs are like harder to reach, because you don't always want to, you want to use your cooldowns and buffs smartly, so you don't really want to have them on abilities you can accidentally hit. For example, of course, like Recklessness is on 5, which is kind of a hard to reach button, as well as like Diamond Flask and yeah, like Deathwish. Also another one which is really easy to reach, and it's Blood Rage, only 1 minute cooldown. You can use it always. One thing I probably made a mistake about is like Thunder Armor. It's on SB, so Shift B should be probably on an easier to reach button. But yeah, things like Challenging Shout are on the far end on my keyboard. That's just because I don't want to accidentally hit this and then pull the whole room and then die in 1 second. So yeah, that's another thing. However, the one thing why this is important, LFUI, you can actually set it up on how you want it. You can, yeah, pretty much click on here, keybind mode, or type in /KB. I showed that in my video pretty also as well, and you can keybind your stuff really easily. That's another useful thing about LFUI. Another thing that is pretty important is you can even set up your stances, how they would interact with each other. So right here, I'm on my first bar, and as you can see, this one is only this, pretty much. So this is my first bar, and this is affected by my stances. The other stances are not affected by my stances. That's also the reason why I have Deathwish right here on this bar, not here, because I want to have Deathwish on every single stance. If I would put it on here, it would maybe show up on only my Berserker stance, not on my like battle stance or something. So yeah, I want to always be able to use Deathwish on every, like on every single bar. So that's one thing. You can actually change it. Here's like the thing where you could change it to which stances it would use. For example, you can see, okay, it uses this and this stance, like it uses bar 8 for probably my defensive stance and whatever. You can kind of play around with that. So that's pretty much that. However, if you don't want to use LFUI, and that's a pretty important thing, you can use other add-ons for as a replacement. The thing that is really useful about LFUI, it includes multiple add-ons into one package. So that's really useful. However, if you don't really like the look, or like you kind of want to have more customization, you kind of want to choose your own add-ons, you can actually do that. So there are 2 ways to do that. You could disable certain things in LFUI and just get an add-on for that. For example, one example is for example my like nameplates. This one is not from LFUI, this one is Plata nameplates, so another add-on. I pretty much, which also LFUI can do automatically if you like start the game and have 2 conflicting add-ons. For example, LFUI and Plata nameplates, it will tell you you need to choose one, and I chose Plata nameplates, so that's why it looks like this and not like the LFUI version. However, you can also, what you can actually do is you can completely disable LFUI and get some replacements. So I even have some replacements. For example, let me disable LFUI for a second. So like this. Let me reload my UI, and you will see I don't have FUI enabled. However, I have, it looks like kind of different now. So for example, it looks like this. This is another add-on I have, which is called Easy Frames. And of course, you can use add-ons like this. So for my unit frames, I have this one. Looks really clean actually, but this would be another add-on you could use instead of FUI. If you don't really like the unit frames, you could also disable them, whatever. For your bars, you could use another add-on like which is called Bartender, and then you could set up your bars. For your chat, you can use Spread. For your minimap, you can use, for example, Sexy Minimap or something like that. I think it's called like that. But yeah, there's a lot of different stuff you can use. Me, however, I'm just using FUI and set everything up from there. So yeah, that's what I'm using. Okay, I think I have everything in my first part. So let's actually get to the second part, which is my kind of demonstration and show you my UI, how it looks like in a raid environment. So let me actually switch over and show you that one. Let me go into here. Let me open this one and okay. So this is like a Blackwing layer raid I did. Actually, this is right there where we would wipe. So however, we have a lot of different mobs here, and this was another question this person asked. So yeah, this would be another thing I would want to answer. So how does my UI look when I have a lot of mobs on my screen, especially like my nameplates? How can I actually, like how does it look like? So let me actually play the clip. And as you can see, I have a lot of different mobs. And I have nothing selected right now, but let me switch. So yeah, now I have this one selected. I have the bad habit of actually clicking to select my mobs. You should always use tab selecting. It's way better. However, I use my mouse here. On this specific situation, it probably would make kind of more sense to actually use your mouse because you don't know if you use tab a lot. There are a lot of different mobs could switch around, but whatever. So yeah, as you can see right here, it's kind of, yeah, the bitrate is pretty bad. So yeah, I think this is a better situation. So the nameplate profile I'm using gives me the effect, which you can see if I select something, the nameplate kind of gets a bit bigger and it kind of gets lightened up. So I actually know which mob I selected. So that can be pretty useful. As you can see, for example, this one is a bit bigger and has like a light around it, and that's pretty nice. Yeah. Other thing, some mobs are red, some mobs are like blue. That's also like a thread thing. However, what is more important, I would say, are these kind of numbers. So these kind of numbers, I will also talk about this in a bit as well. But these kind of numbers is the thread differential weak hour I talked about in my other video. So there you can actually see it in action, which I didn't show in my other video, but I just talked about it. What it does is pretty much, it shows you like the thread differential, and it gives you like a coloring so you actually know what is going on. For example, these blue ones, these are tanked by a tank, so a tank has actually thread over them, so that's a good thing, like blue is good. Red, however, means they are targeting a non-tank, so the threat is on a non-tank, could be a caster, another warrior which isn't a tank, whatever. There are also other colors which probably won't show up. Maybe I need to go a bit. Yeah, let me actually go into here. I think yeah, this is better screenshot. As you can see, for example, this one is orange. So this one means it's attacking me. So yeah, or I'm really close to the threat, so it attacks me, and that's a bad thing because I'm not a tank, so it's orange. If I would be a tank, it would actually be green. So yeah, that's a good thing. Also, this one is also orange. So yeah, that's another thing. And as you can see, both of these ones are red as well. So they are red colored, and that also means I have threat over them. So they are attacking me or targeting me, whatever. So yeah, It's kind of wonky because this is actually where we wiped, but that's a pretty good like example to show. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much about this. So I hope this can answer the question. So how this UI would look like if you have a lot of mobs on your screen. However, that's not the only thing I want to talk about. I actually want to show you some better examples and show you some how buffs would look like when they are all stacked on each other and so on. So let me actually go a bit further. For example, when I fight Razor Gore, and then I can also draw a bit on the screen, so I have a better understanding what's really happening. So yeah, we fight some mobs here, blah blah. Probably should have made timestamps. It takes really long time. Hate this. So yeah, right here we are fighting Razor Gore, and I'm trying to actually stack some buffs. Yeah, as you can see, I have free action potion right now on. So this is probably a better one to use. Yeah. Okay, let me just go back a bit. Okay. So right here we are fighting Razor Gore, and this is kind of my UI in action. I kind of forgot to use another potion. No, okay, I use free action potion, whatever. So I can actually show you what is happening right here. So let me actually go into OBS and open another thing I can use so I can actually draw stuff. So, why is it so small? Can I not make it bigger? Yeah, let me actually use this. Okay, so right here, I have my whole UI. First of all, this is like my raid window, like 40-man raids. One thing you need to know about is you kind of want to have that like smallish, depends on if you are a healer or not, or yeah, if you are like, maybe this could be useful overall if you want to see your buffs of your like whole raid. Me personally, the problem also is 40-man raids, a lot of people, which can be kind of take a lot of space on your screen. So I am using that right now. That's how it looks like. I think it's pretty clean actually how it looks like. Doesn't really take a lot of screen space. One problem you will see in a lot of UIs is this will actually take a lot of screen space. Yeah, but it can be really annoying to avoid. So yeah. Okay, I have this. Can I actually go back? Okay, I can actually clear stuff. Nice. On top of on here, I have my time to kill. So this one actually shows me in how many seconds this boss will probably die. So yeah, that's another thing I have. Next one I can talk about is right here on the boss. As you can see, this is a nameplate I have, and you can see I have overpower actually on my boss right now, on the boss. So I could use overpower on him. This is a weak arrow I talked about in my video, overpower on nameplate. So you can actually see which enemy has overpower on, and you can use overpower here. Of course, I wouldn't use that because I have a lot of rage, and it would be a huge waste of damage to use overpower here. But yeah, as you can see, overpower would be available right now. Okay, let's talk about another stuff. So these are my buffs I have right now. The left one is Death Wish, the right one is Crusader. I could have actually 2 Crusaders on, but I didn't get lucky right now. Maybe I get in a bit, who knows. But yeah, so you can actually see my buffs right here, like my warrior buffs I have on me right now. So like Death Wish, Recklessness, Mighty Rage Potion, Crusader procs, Diamond Flash, these would all show up on here. Yeah, but I will show you another example with even more buffs in a second when I fight the second boss. So I will do this explanation again, but you can actually see like more buffs and so on. So I have this. Like this is my unit frame, I have my health and so on, and these are all my buffs. One thing I should probably do is actually disable these ones, my buffs. As you can see, it's pretty much clutters my screen, doesn't really look that good. So I should probably disable that one. I enabled that one like extra. It wasn't really included in this Elf UI package, but I did it because I wanted to see my buffs and so on, but I can see it isn't really needed because I can just look on the top right, pretty much everything there. And more importantly are like my debuffs, which are right here. Right now I have Deathwish up, and actually what I set it up to do is like to have my debuffs in bigger icon. However, that doesn't really work apparently right now, so I maybe should change it a bit. Okay, this is an enemy target frame, and you can see the debuffs on here. So yeah, a lot of debuffs, but yeah, there's also another thing you can see. Okay, so that's everything about that. Let's actually talk a bit about my weak hour I have. So right now, as you can see here, this is a weak aura I'm using. Um, I can see some of my buffs. So for example, I can see my Death Wish, which I also can see here. Yeah, I can see my Crusader proc, and I can see this one. So what this one is, previously I used a free action potion. For this boss specifically, he can stun you a lot, so you want to use a free action potion to actually do some damage. If you aren't using that one, yeah, good luck doing any damage because you will be perma stunned. But yeah, so that's what I'm using. That's also why I'm not using Mighty Rage potion, because you can actually look at here. This weak hour gives me information about my potion cooldown. So what this one says is I have an like 1 minute 48 second cooldown on my potion. So I can't use a potion right now because also I have like free action potion right now active. So yeah, can't really use a Mighty Rage potion. It's really useful for that. As you can see, for example, also another thing, I have my Deathwish on CD. Yeah, it's right here. I can use my Blood Rage right now, can use my Recklessness right now. However, I'm not using my Recklessness on this boss, I'm saving it up for the next boss, which you will also see in a second when I skip to that. Could also use a Dynamite, so that's what this symbol is about. However, I'm not an engineer, so yeah, this will always be red, unless I am changing it, of course. Interceptor, of course, I'm not using it, but yeah. This one is grayed out, like my overpower. However, like this one. However, if I would switch stances, it wouldn't be, and it would actually show up, and I could use like overpower. Good. Yeah, this is like just a general snapshot. Of course, I have my buffs on the right. You can see I have a lot of buffs. Like my damage is on the right here. Like details, and actually let me skip forward a bit. So yeah, you can see a lot of stuff is like clipping into each other, so I need to work on that. Like I said, my UI and so on is not the best, but yeah, I'm kind of working on it. So I need to fix actually some stuff. I will talk about some improvements also later you can make, which aren't on this UI, which you probably should use. So yeah, let me actually skip to the next boss, so I can show you some other buffs. Okay, so right here we are just before we are pulling Velestros. I made a pretty big mistake here, as you already can see. So my mistake was I used a potion. I used a greater fire protection potion, so I don't take a lot of damage of Velestros aura. However, this put my Mighty Rage potion on CD, which is pretty stupid actually, but yeah. Another mistake I did, which you will see pretty shortly, is when we are fighting the boss. I kind of swapped my trinket around with my trinket menu. However, this was a stupid mistake because I swapped out my Hand of Justice for Black Hand's Breath. So yeah, pretty stupid. Actually, I want to see if I can show you my Hand of Justice proc. So yeah, let me actually go back again to the boss fight. Let me see if I procced the Hand of Justice. Kind of forgot if I even did that. No, I didn't. Sad, actually. Yeah, I want to see that because so you can actually see how it would look like on my screen. But I think I didn't. Yeah, probably not. Let me see if I can find it. If not, I will just go to the next one. Like I said, this will be is kind of a more a casual video, not really edited. Just made a like made just a video like that, kind of recording it pretty quickly. So yeah, whatever. Okay, I don't have any Hand of Justice procs here. Unlucky. Okay, maybe I can show that a bit later. Okay, let's go to the boss fight again. So yeah, as you can see, yeah, fooling the boss. Kind of fooled around with my trinkets, fucked up. But yeah, whatever. So right here we are fighting the boss. And let me actually switch to OBS again so I can mark some things. Right here on the top, you can see Thunder armor stacks. So that's an important thing you have. You want to see how much Thunder armor stacks are on the boss. Yeah, right here you can see I think there are 2. This is also a thing which is kind of bad of this Plater profile. It's not really viewable, visible actually. So I would probably also switch to another profile pretty soonish. So yeah, this isn't really the best one, but whatever. Works for now. Also, you can see the same thing right here. Like Thunder armor stacks. This weaker will also give you that information, which is pretty nice. Of course, like every kind of weaker will have that. Also, the alternatives probably also have that option. You can just try it out on some mobs on the overworld, of course. Yeah, again, you can see the overpower proc I have. And this time you can actually see I'm using my diamond flask. So you can see I have that available right here. Like 50 seconds left. And yeah. Okay, let's go a bit further. So I actually go into the execute phase. Yeah. Right here you saw one thing. So when I hit 5 thunders, the thunder thing pretty much vanished. So yeah, there's like no thunder anymore. It's like 5 thunders are there. If the thundering is reaching like 5 seconds duration or something, it will show up again. So I know I need to re-thunder or someone needs to re-thunder so it doesn't run out. So it's really important. I think we used improved exposed armor on this boss. I can't really remember. So yeah. Another thing you will notice on my weak aura, there's a green bar. So what this means pretty much, I am using cleave. Why I'm using cleave on this boss, cleave has a lower threat than heroic strike, and that's pretty useful, kind of a useful trick to use if you don't really want to go above your tank in threat and don't want to wipe the whole raid with that. So yeah, you can actually use cleave instead of heroic strike. You will have 100 rage anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. And yeah, that's one thing you can actually use. Heroic strike gives you a lot of threat, so cleave is a lot less, so you can actually use that. Before I did it, I'd pretty much put cleave on my 2, which would normally be my heroic strike. And yeah, I will switch it around after this fight. So that's kind of a thing you can use. Okay, let me clear this up again. So yeah, let's go a bit further. So I can actually show you the execute phase. Yeah, whatever, takes a bit of time. And now we are in execute phase. So kind of unlucky, I lost my Crusaders proc, but whatever. Right here I will cast Recklessness. Now I have Crusader up. So now, if I didn't fuck it up, I would also have my Mighty Rage potion up. So I would have like 4 things right here. 5 things, sorry, but I have only 4. So right here I have Death Wish up, Diamond Flask, Recklessness, and 1 Crusader proc. So yeah, like I said, what you want to have is you want to stack as many buffs as possible and use them in a smart way, especially if you have every buff available in the execute phase, you are going to do insane damage. And also another weak aura, which I talked about, is like execute. No, I know, okay, I can cast execute without really looking at the enemy health bar. Another thing you can see, I casted my first execute. It does 5,600 damage, which is pretty nice, pretty big number. And like Mike's scrolling battle text also shows this here. So that's really nice. You can see it here. Okay, my execute did actually 5,643 damage. You will have the damage number and you will also see the ability. So that's actually pretty nice. You have like both. Of course, another thing you want to have is you want to also queue your heroic strike. In this case, it's cleave when you are also using execute. So it's more like a warrior thing you can actually see. So let me go further. Yeah, that's pretty much that. Another thing I didn't talk about is actually this bar in the middle. What this one is. The bar in the middle is from Deadly Boss Mods, which, as I said previously, shows us some raid encounter information. In this case, it's like burning adrenaline is a debuff someone gets, and yeah, it shows us the next one, which would be pretty much cast. You can also see some information here, so like our best clear, which is also from Deadly Boss Mods, and shows us the remaining time of one of our guild members who got like burning adrenaline. So yeah. Did I forgot something? Yeah, of course my threat meter is right here. I can see, okay, our main tank has a big threat lead, so that's good. So yeah, I wouldn't really pull threat often. I can see like who's the target is, who's targeted right now. This is our main tank. Did I say anything else? I really want to see if I forgot something to talk about something. Oh yeah, another thing, you can see my cursor right here. This is another weak aura I'm using, which is like my GCD cooldown. So let me actually play the video and you will see like the bar fills up and is and also has this like small second timer, which is kind of resetting. As you can see, this is like my GCD timer. So if it goes like empty again, I know, okay, I can use my GCD again. Kind of minuscule thing. I don't really look at that much, but yeah, can be pretty useful if you want to know about your GCD timer. Looks kind of satisfying too, as kind of. So yeah. Okay, the boss is dead. Whatever, we've continued. But yeah, that's the thing. I think I pretty much talked about everything. One thing I did before I started the boss, I kind of swapped my trinkets around. And a thing you will see at the end of the boss, it swaps my trinkets again. That's because of item rack. Item rack switches your trinkets around. However, if you are in combat, that doesn't really work. So that's one thing. If you are leaving combat, it will automatically switch your things around again. So it kind of queues your swaps. However, one thing that is really annoying, if you want to swap weapons in combat, it doesn't work for that. You need to do it manually or with a macro or something. It doesn't work with the add-on. You need to, yeah, like I said, you need to do it manually. The add-on can't do that. I think there's like some inherent code things that Blizzard did, which kind of disables that function where add-ons can switch around your gear in combat. So yeah, you need to watch out for that. Okay, let me think if I forgot something. Maybe we can see if I can find some. Yeah, I don't think I can. Yeah, maybe I can find some here when I'm fighting a lot of mobs. I want to see like some Hand of Justice procs, but I don't think I will see one. This would be nice. Like I said, this is more of a casual, like non-edited video, just to answer some questions. And yeah. So that's what I'm pretty much. Oh, as you can see, also this one, I think I forgot to talk about it. As you can see, this mob has like a red number. This one means it's targeting a non-tank right now. So yeah. A blue number means, okay, a tank is tanking it, so a tank has threat on it. I think I talked about this on the start, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, this can be really useful actually. Execute, whatever. Yeah, I'm not in that kind of an hardcore guild, whatever, so just as a reminder. But I like to, of course, improve and whatever, so that's pretty fun to do in Classic, because there's not really much else to do. I just want to see one Hand of Justice Proc. Come on, just one. Yeah, probably won't see one. Like, these mobs are dying so fast, I probably won't see one. I don't know why it's so rare. Like, what is happening? Maybe my UI is bugged? Could that be the case? The thing is, why you want to see Hand of Justice procs is because maybe you don't really see your rage number all the time, you don't really look at it, but if you see in Hand of Justice proc, you will pretty much know that you will have almost a full rage bar. Especially if you are playing maybe with a two-hander or something. This is really, really important, so you know, okay, no, I need to dump a lot of rage, so I cast my heroic strikes, things like that, so I know, okay, I actually need to do that. So because I have a full rage bar, I don't want to waste my rage, so that's really important. You know that. So yeah, that can be really useful if you have it. Another thing is, of course, it looks really nice. If you have like there you can see actually my Hand of Justice proc. So let me go back. Man, it took really long time to find it. Whatever. I thought it was maybe bugged. Maybe it actually is. So let me, yeah, okay. Let me go back actually. So right here I have 64 rage. I go into here, I cast, I think, Cleave. Yeah, I have 22 rage. And now my Hand of Justice gives me, yeah, probably some rage back. But yeah, as you can see, big numbers, a lot of numbers. That's always what we want to see. However, right here I have my Hand of Justice proc. And also like the Pepsi logo. Yeah, that's because of the Pepsi font. That's the thing you want to, you kind of want to see. No, I know, okay, my Hand of Justice proc, and I can cast some other ability because I got some rage of it. So yeah, that's really useful. Of course, on this situation, I didn't really want to get a lot of rage. So yeah, you always actually want to check as well. But yeah, can be really satisfying. This would also show up if you would get in Wind Fury proc for Horde. I am not really playing on Horde right now, as you can see, or in Sword Spec proc. If you are using a sword, maybe as into skilled into the arms tree and into sword spec, or yeah, maybe you're playing a rogue, which is using that. So that can be really useful for you as well. Okay, I think I talked about everything. Oh yeah, so this would be my next part I want to talk about. The next one would be how you can actually improve this setup, because this one is not perfect, like I said, and I'm actually missing some things. So one of the more important things would be how we can improve this. First of all, what I would actually add, which I'm probably also adding pretty soon, is debuff. Debuff weak aura. I kind of have this because of like Thunder and such. I can see it on the nameplates, but there's like no Curse of Recklessness, Fairy Fire, Curse of Weakness. I can't really see it if it's applied on the enemy. Even like Exposed Armor is not really available anywhere. So I kind of need another weak hour for that, which is really useful. So I can actually see, okay, are we even using these things? Another thing I want to have is like my actually buffs and such. Like if I have like every buff and so on me right now, maybe I forgot something or maybe something ran out. So because some I can actually talk about this. So some buffs, for example, this one, which is pretty infamous for that one. Like this one is the Mike Juju has a pretty short timer. So you can be inside a battle or maybe inside an encounter, you fight the mob and then I don't know, you fight the next mob or whatever, and then it can actually run out and you didn't notice it, and you are losing a lot of attack power. So yeah, this can be pretty annoying. So you want to know if you actually have every buff available. The thing is about classics, there are a lot of buffs, so that would be another weak hour I would probably add here on here. There are also other weak hours that are probably better for threat. There's another weak hour which can show you which enemy is actually targeted by which enemy, which is also pretty useful. then you can actually see, okay, I don't know, this mob is targeting a caster right now, I need to taunt it, so a caster doesn't get one shot. So yeah, that would also be another regoer which you could add. Also other things, I kind of need to rearrange stuff. Maybe you didn't see it, or maybe you saw it. The loot windows behind my raid window, so it's actually behind this one, which is pretty annoying. Like, it's behind this one, so I don't really see it in raids. I would probably need to put it up here. So yeah, like I said, some suggestions, things I can make, which can improve this UI pretty much. But I said previously, it's not like perfect, but this should give you like an overall um, opinion, overall thing you can see, look at, and maybe think, okay, I kind of want to have like a similar UI, or maybe I want to incorporate things which are in this UI, and so on. So yeah. Okay. I hope this was useful. Like I said, more of a casual video where I kind of yapping and so on. So it's not really that edited. There may be maybe some mistakes, whatever. I hope this could help you. And this one in combination with the other video I made can help you a bit with your UI stuff and so on. So yeah, if you have any more questions or whatever, feel free to ask them in the comments. If you have anything to say, any suggestions, whatever, can feel free to ask them. And I will pretty much see you on the next video. Yeah, have a good day, have a great night. Goodbye.